Hello, my name is Jessie Thomson, and I am a social worker. I have been working with Mercer County School District this last year as an intern during the last 2 semesters of my master's program through St. Ambrose University. And I am looking forward and very honored to be able to continue working with the school district. So today's video is highlighting Mental Health Awareness Month. And I thought to do that, I would share with you a couple tools or strategies that you can use to have a self care plan and to focus on yourself and ways of supporting yourself, especially in times of stress or high anxiety. Um, the first thing I'd like to do is I'm going to share my screen with you, and I would like to show you a self care plan. This is something that I received as a tool through my schoolwork at St. Ambrose. It's shared to me by a professor. And this has been kind of a helpful thing, and it might, if anything, just help you to think through some ways of helping take care of yourself mentally, emotionally. So we can look through this together briefly. The first point on this page is to make a list of what you can do when you're upset that will be good for you. What will help me relax? For example, sometimes deep breathing or muscle relaxation could be through meditation or yoga. Good music is good medicine. Reading for fun, watching a movie, exercising, taking a walk. These are all things that you don't have to rely on anyone else to make these things happen. They're things that you can do for yourself, by yourself. Next suggestion is, what do I like to do when I'm in a good mood? Do we ever think about that and kind of list out the things we like to do when we're in a good mood? If we put all those things down, it kind of helps you remember or have something to go through when you're feeling like you're antsy or feeling like you want to or should be doing something, but you just can't bring anything to mind in that moment. Sometimes not having a list is what stops us from getting up and moving and doing something for ourselves. The next one, C, what can I do that will help me throughout the day? For example, um, try and avoid too much caffeine. I know that's hard. I am a big coffee drinker, and so that might not be such an easy one. But if you're already feeling anxious, if you're already feeling those kind of pent up emotions or can't quite calm down and relax and find that easy breathing space, then maybe laying back on the caffeine might help you with that. Um, Doing some breathing techniques again, like we talked about earlier. But what we do with these is really focusing on your body as you're breathing, on your belly, on that diaphragm, and how you're breathing in and out. So sometimes when you really sit and think about your breathing, that can have a calming effect in and of itself. Think about what you're thinking about. Watch your thoughts. Our thoughts kind of take over sometimes, and they can spin and roll, and before we know it, it is like that the joke that we've seen where our brains are just, six browsers open and one of them keeps loading and there's music you don't know where it's coming from. Like, that's how our brains can work sometimes. So if you can piece through those thoughts, don't fight them off, just piece through them and give each one notice and try and put it aside and sort through them that way and see if you can prioritize. It takes time, and before you know it, you're breathing, you're thinking it through, and you're able to sort through them. Stay in the moment. We often want to jump ahead to the next moment. We want to know what's coming. We need a plan. We need to know what's going to happen. Or we feel as though we can plan enough for the future, those unknowns, that we'll be prepared no matter what. Sometimes it's best to just stay in this one moment and decide what is going on right now and what can I focus on right now, and not overwhelm ourselves with those things that we can't control just yet. Next on that list, it says, what else do you need to do that is specific to you? We all have different things. We all have different focuses and interests, things that make us happy, things that can, take our minds and turn them from those negative thoughts to positive thoughts. So what is it that does that for you? Identify those things. And just like our initial list, we need to make sure we keep that in mind. because sometimes when our emotions are really high or we're really struggling, it's very difficult to reach out and grab those thoughts or those feelings that help us to move forward and to find that calm and to take care of ourselves. All right, number two, make a list of people you can contact if you need support or distraction. For example, your best friend, other friends, siblings, parents, grandparents, other relatives. And having that list is great, but we also want to take that list and divide it into categories. I had never thought about this before until I'd done this exercise, but let's divide that list of people into categories and ask yourself some questions. Let me scroll through here for you guys so you can see what I'm seeing. I can't find my mouse. Okay, sorry about that. Who can I call if I'm feeling depressed or anxious? That person that is a good listener, who's understanding, who's empathetic. They may not be the same person that you would call in another situation. Who would that be for you? Who can you call if you're lonely? Who would you like to talk to? If you need company, who would you call over? Or call to Zoom or Google Meet? Who will listen? Who is a good listener that will just let you talk and get it out and not interrupt or tell you their own stories in place of what you're trying to say to them? Who will encourage you to get out of the house and do something fun? Who will say, those yoga pants kind of look like the ones you were wearing yesterday. Why don't we change and go for a walk? Who will remind me to follow my self-care plan? Who knows me well enough to say, okay, I think it's time to get your notes out and see where to go from here. And I think it helps to categorize people in that way, just to yourself and to know who to call in what situation. All right, number three, next, make a list of positive things to say to yourself when you're giving yourself a hard time. Don't we all do this? I know I do. So some examples of negative self-talk or giving yourself a hard time. I am so bad at online learning, or I'm so bad at working from home. We need to change that negative thought to a positive thought and say a lot of people are having the same struggle. Maybe we should start a study group to help each other out, or maybe I should call a coworker and just see if they're feeling these same challenges that I'm feeling. That's changing that negative thought to a positive thought. Another one could be, I can't get all this work done. I'm going to fail. Let's change that negative thought and turn it into something that will actually propel us forward and motivate us to change the situation. Change it to, I will develop a schedule so that I can get all this done. I'm going to just take a minute and figure this out and prioritize. I can check with others for ideas. I can ask for help. Changing negative thoughts into positive thoughts. So we're going to make a list of who and what to avoid when you're having a hard time. Now, this sounds kind of mean, but maybe when you really think about it, we have people we love, and yet we know there might be something that we don't exactly bring to them. Maybe we don't bring something to them that is so fragile to us, so mixed in with our emotions. We just know that that might not be the person that I take this to, and that's okay. So let's figure out, who do we maybe not want to call in certain situations when we're having a hard time? And there's also things that we want to avoid that might bring us down even further. Habits that we have or behaviors that we have that we know in these situations, they tend to make it worse. And so we're going to highlight that and kind of try and avoid those things if we're really feeling like we're in a place that it's just not going to be productive for us. So some examples of that would be like, I didn't get my homework in on time and I'm worried about the outcome. I'm not going to call blank because I know they're a stickler for doing things in advance. They never want to be late. And so if I call them and tell them I'm late on something, I don't know that they'll really be supportive. They'll probably just give me a hard time. So that might not be a person I want to call with that specific problem. Or I'm discouraged about my situation. I'm not going to call blank because I'm pretty sure that they'll just tell me not to worry about it. they'll kind of brush it off. And I really need someone to just listen to me for a little bit. So kind of figuring out in your mind those people that you want to call in certain situations, just like you want to figure out those people that we care about and we love them, but we just know in this particular situation, it's probably not the best idea to call them. Things to avoid, that second bullet point on the list, maybe I should not stay in the house all day. Maybe I should not stay in bed all day. Maybe I should open the shades and let the light in. Maybe I should not listen to sad music. All of those things have their place in time. But if we are really trying to work our way out of an emotional rut or really work our way away from negative feelings, we write down those things that we know are going to just keep us in that same mindset. So that way we can try and avoid them and give ourselves a better chance at succeeding and overcoming and moving into a positive mindset. All right, number 5, next steps. This suggests that you could possibly write this down on a note card, something small, put it in your pocket, put it in your purse, keep it in a place where it's easily accessible, and you can look at it and remind yourself of all of these tools that are very specific to you and no one else needs to see it. It's just there for you for your self-care. This list and these suggestions were prepared by Elaine S. Rinfred, PhD, and so I want to make sure and give her the notice on this work that she did, and I found it to be pretty helpful as well. Okay, so that's one idea that we can use at this time. Another idea is just mindfulness and finding a way to be quiet with yourself, finding a way to take a moment to just breathe and sort through those thoughts because they're going to come. So I'm outside at my house because I thought I'm going to kind of give you something to look at other than me while I talk. And this is something that I'm not an expert in meditation or anything like that, but these are things when I'm having a high anxiety moment or when I am feeling extremely rushed or anxious or nervous. These are things that I might sit and do in a quiet place if I can find one. So I thought I'd run through that with you as well today. I'm going to get out of your eyesight here. So when you're sitting and trying to just breathe and trying to take a moment, it's important to put the electronic devices down. It's important to shut the TV off. It's okay to go in a room and shut the door and just be by yourself for a while. So when you finally find that place, there are many ways to feel connected to where you're at. You can sit with your feet flat on the floor, arms at your side. You can lay down. I just recommend getting in a place where you can be comfortable and not worry about what your body is feeling like in that moment, to just rest. So find that comfortable place for yourself and just be for a minute. Maybe just take a nice deep breath. Feel that deep breath all the way down in your belly. Wiggle your toes. Whatever surface you're sitting on or laying on, try and just relax down into that spot. Every time you exhale, just melt down into that spot. Every thought that comes in, just let it come in your brain. Look at it. Think about it. And let it go. Take another deep breath. Wiggle your toes and flex your fingers. And another deep breath. You melt down into where you're sitting. What do you notice about the room you're in? What are the colors of the wall? Are your clothes comfortable? What do you see in the room? How are you feeling today? Focus on you in this moment right now that you're in. How are you doing? Take another deep breath. When you're done being calm, what's the first thing you would like to do for you? What would bring a smile to your face? Take another deep breath. Use the rest of your day to take care of yourself, to take care of your loved ones, to find a way to laugh with them. Do something that makes you feel good. Okay. All right, I'm coming back into the screen. So again, it's nothing specific to a certain type of mindfulness program or a specific meditation. But sometimes we are so ahead of ourselves. We're so worried about what happens next. And we're focused on what we should be doing now to prepare for then. That we forget to be in the now. And it makes us anxious because it's uncertain. So sometimes we have to just stop and breathe and be still and be quiet and listen and figure out, where am I right now? Focus on this room I'm in. Let's focus on how I'm feeling. And when I'm done with this, I need to then decide, what can I do now in this day to make this day productive for myself and feel good, to help others, to take care of those I love, and to take care of myself. So hopefully some of these ideas, some of these suggestions, or just talking it through have given you some helpful tips. Please also know that we have a wonderful um, program in our county. We have wonderful resources in our county. We have our health department, we have the mental health action program, we have the crisis center, we have our clinic, many specialists and physicians who are ready and wanting to help if you need it. So please reach out to them. Please pass along a caring ear to those around us right now and be that shoulder for someone. And I hope that you have someone as well that you can talk to. So please take care of each other, and thanks for listening.